Hey everybody, how you doing today? Well, it's Carpo here with an update, and I talked about the virus the other day, and I want people to know right off, this video isn't intended to be clickbait or just to get views. The thing about a lot of these news stories is a lot of people want to talk about them because everybody else is talking about them. Whenever something big happens in the world, I really tend to bite my tongue. I even reluctantly talk about politics. All of these things aside, most of the world issues don't really concern me that much. I don't have much wrapped up in elections or, in other people's personal lives and opinions on issues. I just let the world go on and I live my life. But once in a while, an issue I feel like it may actually affect me and those I love and those people that I have as subscribers. I would like to share with them because I feel like it might affect you as well. And I think that this virus is one of those situations. Now, the other day I made a video and I talked about it and I said it's not really a big deal. It's not worth panicking. I wouldn't worry about it. But then I thought, I went down to the store last night at about 11 o'clock p.m. I rushed down and I bought just two things of N95 masks. A couple different kinds. I could unfortunately only find these small packs. And I had to go to my local Fred Meyer. Apparently, if you go online right now and you try to order masks, you might be surprised to find that most of them are sold out. And it's not the kind of thing that should make people panic. Now, naturally, they need a lot of masks for the people who are working in the vicinity. A lot of them are being sent over. It turns out in New York and in, I believe, LA, they've sold out almost all drugstores, I guess, of face masks. And people have been going in there. Some store owners say people have even offered them, like one person said somebody offered them $600 to let them buy their whole stock so they could send it over to China because they have family over there. Now that's understandable. If you know a lot of people that are over there in the infected area, you're obviously going to want to send them masks because they have a shortage of masks. And I made this joke earlier that 3M created the virus as a way to boost profits. It's kind of a joke. 3M makes most of these, respirators. And I looked and I was just curious about it, and I found that their last quarter stock was actually low because they hadn't produced as much as they expected to. All said and done, what I wanted to talk about was the mask factor here. Now, I'm telling you this because perhaps you might want just a few for you and your family. If something happens, the virus does end up spreading, as they say, then it might be a good idea to have a few masks in case you have to go shopping. That's all. You don't need to buy cases and cases of them. But I need to make a note on that. What people are going down is they're buying these surgical masks down at the drugstores, and they're buying huge boxes of those little, rectangular surgical masks. And you should know those surgical masks are not intended to prevent transmission of disease to the doctor. They are intended to prevent disease transmission from the doctor's mouth to the patient. So if you want to wear one of those when you have the flu, then that's one thing. But if you're trying to prevent yourself from getting sick, not even these ones will work well unless you have your beard shaved and they're fit properly. I mean, it's important to know if you're going to use one, whether it's working or not. So anyway, that out of the way, I'd like to kind of go over the numbers because, as I said before, this virus transmits in its incubation stage, which is something that's scaring the hell out of people. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the details. I'll just read a couple of the articles. The SARS outbreak, which happened 17 years ago now, it only infected 8,098 people, but it killed 774. So that was in a 6-month period or 7-month period between November and July, and I guess 8 months. And in the 1 month that we've been aware of this one, it's already caused, the deaths aren't up there yet. I think right now the number of deaths just crossed 132 that we know of. But there's already a lot more cases than that. I mean, they're saying 10,000, but I mean, you can be sure it's more. But here's where I want to ease the fears of this. So 132 people have died, okay? 774 people died from SARS. Think about how many people die each year from the flu. Do you know how many people die each year from the flu? The numbers from the CDC are 646,000 people. So over 500,000 people die each year from just the basic flu. So until we reach a proportion like that, it's not as big of an issue when it comes to health, and especially since it only has a 2% death rate, whereas I think SARS had a 10%. At least 2% that we know of. But here's where the big problem happens is commerce. It slows down commerce, airports shut down, people won't deliver food anymore. When this happens, everything comes to a halt. It's an economic disaster over there in China right now because they've had to actually quarantine 50 million people. And that's a hefty amount of people. I think that the World Health Organization is kind of holding back on really, panicking right now. But every time I'd take a screenshot that I wanted to share in the last couple of days, the numbers would change. So I'd have to be like, oh, what's the new numbers? Okay, 132 now. From last time I looked, the total cases were like 6,000, but then I read 9,000 somewhere. And I don't think really anybody knows. But let's see, do I have anything else? Okay, this is just something that a screenshot I took from AP. They said the few cases of human-to-human spread of the virus outside China, in Japan, Germany, Canada, and Vietnam, were part of the reason the UN Health Agency's Director General has reconvened an expert committee to meet next Thursday. It will assess whether the outbreak should be declared a global emergency. To date, about 99% of the nearly 6,000 cases are in China. Ryan estimates the death rate of the new virus at 2%. But he said the figure was preliminary. With fluctuating numbers of cases and deaths, scientists are only able to produce a rough estimate of the fatality rate, and it's likely many milder cases of the virus are being missed. The virus is spreading. Okay, although the Chinese health minister and others have suggested the virus is spreading before people get symptoms, data to confirm that has not yet been shared widely beyond China. It's still unclear whether that takes place, they say. The fortunate thing about SARS, if there was anything fortunate, was that the transmission did not take place before symptoms. If it turns out that the new coronavirus can indeed be spread by people who don't show symptoms, a pandemic is a scenario we have to consider. So, that's all I've got. I just wanted to share what I've come up with. When I was in the store, they kind of looked at me funny in the line, and we talked a little bit about it. And I was like, I went on Amazon a couple days ago, and I was going to order masks, just in case. And then I went back yesterday, and I looked, and it said out of stock. Then I looked, and it said out of stock. Every single mask was out of stock on Amazon. So I looked on Walmart. I hate Walmart, but I thought maybe I'd find some. Those were sold out as well. And I'm sure if you're creative, you could probably find some out there online, but you know how it is. If people can order online, they'll just order it and order as many as they can get, which is what a lot of people did. And I don't want anybody to be left hanging if you need to go out in public and you can't even find a simple mask. So just get a few for you and your family if you can. I'm sure the local stores in most areas still have them. If you live in a larger city, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. It's going to be hell if there's a virus because too many people in too small of an area. At least I live on the outskirts. I live close enough to where I can go up to the woods for a little while, take the school bus up there and live in the woods for a while if we needed to. I'm not trying to be panicky here, it's just I'm being aware because a virus is one of the few things that I actually am concerned about in this world. I know what a virus can do. The 1918 flu pandemic killed a lot of people. The guess is 50 to 100 million, and that was at a time when the world was much smaller population. I think it killed 3 to 5% of the entire world's population during the 1918 flu pandemic. That was before we had airplanes. So just think about that. Today, anything could happen tomorrow, and I want myself and my family to be aware. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and be smart about it. One last note about masks, and this is very shameful. I don't even know what to think of this. When I went on the Walmart site, and I found all their masks were sold out, I looked over, and when I put N95 mask in, because you have to have a 95 at least, as a rating, I looked over and it said N95 masks $49.99 Walmart. So I clicked on it. It took me to the Walmart page and it said $49.99 and it described the masks and then it said virus protection or protection against viruses. And then down at the bottom it said quantity 8. Now look, I've been buying dust masks for years and I know some come in packs of 8. maybe, but generally the ones that they were selling are in packs of 2 or packs of 3 or packs of 10 or 20. And they were selling 8 of them for $50. And these are $1 masks, not the good ones. These are masks that should be $1, and they were charging, I think it was 60 total for 8 of them. So I want you to be aware that even a major organization like that, it seems like Walmart has taken products and put them up for a high markup and then written virus protection on there in order so they can sell them for a higher rate. I don't know if that's what's going on, but if it is, that is really shameful. That is really shameful. I know a lot of people right now are buying up masks so they can sell them secondhand for a high price, which is just selfish and ridiculous. But there's always going to be that capitalist mentality that, hey, your money's more important than everyone else's health. So anyway, that's what I got. I'll talk to y'all later. Be well and be healthy. Take care of yourself.